Look at this face. This is by Amedeo Modigliani, a painter who found no success in his lifetime and died at 35 with next to nothing. Today, these same faces sell for more than almost any painting on earth. But this story is not about money. It's that through all the rejection, he never stops painting, and he never once turned these faces into something the world would rather see. So how do you keep going when the world keeps saying no? And how do you stay true to yourself despite rejection? Let's walk into a room hung with his paintings. The faces all seem to belong to the same strange family. Necks too long, heads tilted as if they're listening to something. The almond eyes with nothing painted inside them. A doctor, a child, a poet, a maid. Whoever he paints, his style is unmistakable. One look and you know it's a Modigliani. So how does he arrive at a way of painting so completely his own? Long before he takes up the brush, Modigliani wanted to be a sculptor. In Paris, he attaches himself to the older and more established Romanian sculptor Constantin Brancusi, who carves the human figure down to its purest, simplest shape. Under his influence, Modigliani starts cutting heads of his own, long faces with narrow noses and columns for necks. He draws inspiration from everything the city is only beginning to notice. Masks from West Africa, ancient marble idols with their features reduced to almost nothing, carvings from Egypt, and the art of his own birthplace, Italy. The long and graceful figures of the Renaissance he grew up around. Not one of these inspirations is really trying to copy a face. They simplify, they leave things out, they go for the essence. And that is what Modigliani is really interested in, that you can leave almost everything out and still catch the person underneath. Modigliani's body, though, is turning against him. He's been ill since boyhood, his lungs are weak, and the stone dust makes it unbearable. So much so that he has to give up sculpting for good. So he loses the thing he loves most, but then pours everything carving taught him into paint instead. The long faces, the simple planes, the almond eyes. So the strangeness is the whole point. Modigliani has every bit of the training it takes to paint a faithful, lifelike portrait. It's simply not what he's after. What he's building instead is his own language for the human face, out of everything we've just been looking at. The people in Paris who pay for portraits, though, aren't shopping for a new language. What they want is a flattering likeness, features smoothed and softened. So why would anyone want his distorted faces, the ones that almost look like a mistake next to the portraits everyone is used to? But still, Modigliani keeps going his own way. He becomes one of the well-known figures of Montparnasse, the painters' quarter of Paris. An Italian from a Jewish family back in Livorno, he's beautiful, magnetic, and almost always broke. He drifts from cafe to cafe with a portfolio under his arm, drawing whoever's at the tables and selling a sketch for a few francs, a meal, or a drink. People take to calling him Modi, which sounds almost exactly like the French word maudit, the cursed one. There's a romance to that name, the doomed and beautiful artist, and he plays the part with too much drink and worse. Strip the romance away, though, and his life is mostly just hard. Cold rooms, empty pockets, and a cough that won't quit. He isn't entirely alone. A poet named Leopold Zborowski believes in him and becomes his dealer. He finds Modigliani a room to paint in, pays for his paints and his models, and tries again and again to sell his work. But the buyers almost never come. And it isn't that this new kind of art can't sell. Right beside him, in the same cafes and on the same streets, another painter, his own age, is also making a bet on a new kind of art and getting very famous and rich for it. His name is Pablo Picasso. The world falls hard for his work and can't place Modigliani's. Picasso even owns a few Modiglianis, and he's genuinely drawn to his colleagues' work. And yet, one day, in need of a canvas, he paints his own work straight over one of them. A painting that today would be worth a fortune, used as scrap. But then, just once, it looks as if Modigliani's luck has finally turned, as if life is about to reward him at last. His dealer, Swarovski, gets him his first ever solo show. The biggest chance he's ever had at real success, both artistic and financial. In the window, the gallery owner hangs one of his nudes, and it stops people in the street. Because these are nothing like the idolized nudes Paris is used to. Modigliani's are warm and frank and alive, with the kind of body hair polite Paris pretends not to notice. A crowd gathers in front of the window, and the police station right across the street can hardly miss the commotion. The commissioner deems the nudes indecent and has the entire show shut down. Modigliani sells next to nothing. His one shot at being seen, destroyed in a single afternoon. By now, you'd think he has every reason to stop, to give in to what the public wants and paint something safe that might actually sell. So why doesn't he? What keeps him going his own way? The buyers, the crowds, he was never really doing it for them. They were never the point. What Modigliani won't give up is looking at the person in front of him and, more than that, really seeing that person to capture all of it on canvas. And that stays his, no matter who is or isn't buying. Walk through his portraits and his whole world is there. Fellow painters like his close friend Chaim Soutine, his dealer Swarovski, the woman he loves. But just as often, someone with no name at all. A maid, the kid from down the street. He bends the world to his way of seeing instead of bending himself to fit the world. Whoever sits in front of him, rich or poor, famous or unknown, gets the same seriousness and care. Look at his portrait of a young farm boy, for example. Modigliani gives him the same grave, unhurried dignity he gives a celebrated poet. The man the world keeps turning away never hardens. If anything, the rejection makes him gentler. And then look at the eyes, because they seem like the strangest part at first, but actually they are the most beautiful. So often, he leaves them almost empty. Smooth, colored almonds with no pupil to meet your gaze. It can feel a little eerie, but these are just the eyes he knows from the masks and the marble heads he loved. That's why his faces never quite look out at us. They gaze inward instead, into a stillness of their own that we can't quite reach. And yet, every so often, with the people closest to him, he does paint the eyes. Take one of his portraits of Jeanne Hébuterne, the love of his life. This time, the eyes are there, blue. He paints her again and again, the same beloved face. And of all those portraits, only a handful have real painted pupils, as if the eyes were the most intimate thing he had to give, and he wouldn't hand them over lightly. So while the world is busy not seeing him, he's turning into one of the great painters of the human face, and the soul, some might say. In the last year of his life, sick and fading, he finally paints his own face. It's his only real self-portrait. There he sits, palette in hand, a painter to the very end, giving himself everything he gave the others. The long neck, the tilted head, the half-shut inward eyes. No genius, no martyr, no great man the world should have noticed in time. He paints himself like one of his sitters, like the maid, like the farm boy. Amedeo Modigliani dies that winter, only 35 years old. 2 days later, Jeanne, pregnant with their second child, takes her own life. The no in the end is complete. No rescue, no reward, no moment where the world turns around while he's still alive to see it. Rejection usually only offers 2 doors. You stop, or you turn yourself into whatever the world will finally buy. Modigliani takes neither. He never changes his strange faces into something easier to sell. His style isn't a costume he can just swap out of. It's how he actually sees a person, and trading it away would mean giving up the very reason he paints. What I seek, he said, is neither the real nor the unreal, but the subconscious. That's what stays with me. Not just that he keeps his style and keeps going, but that he stays soft. He has every reason to harden, to grow bitter, to wall himself off. But he does the exact opposite. He couldn't choose whether the world would buy his work or even look at it. He could only choose how he treated the next person who sat down in front of him, and he gave them not only his dignity, but everything he had. The more the world refused him, the more attention he handed back to it.